Hello everyone and welcome back to Drivenmad. Now in today's video I'm going to be changing the drive shafts, lower arms and tie rod ends on my Abarth 595. Right, now the first step to this is to get some visibility and access, so we're going to remove the lower plastic under tray, which is a few size 10mm bolts. Now to remove the bumper's fairly straightforward. We've got a few Torx bolts and a few Phillips screws in there as well. Now you can see my dad in the middle taking off the 3 Torx and I'm doing the Phillips. And then inside the arches we've actually got 2 more Phillips on each side and there's a hidden Torx screw right up the top. Right, now with all those taken out, we can move to the top of the bumper, which is 4 more Torx screws. You can see us pointing there. Now, after that, you can pull the bumper away from the wings. These are horrible plastic clips, but you've got to give it a little pull. You can see Dad there hesitating because it does feel horrible. And then once you've done that, you can bring the bumper forwards and disconnect the fog lights and the daytime running lights, and then the bumper's completely clear to be taking off. Now after having a look around the car, it's time to remove the arch liners. Now these are really straightforward, just a few plastic poppers, screws and whatnot to pop that off, and just be careful when you pull it out that you don't damage your arch. Right, now we can see what we're working with. So we've got to remove this front chassis leg on each side to get access to the lower arm, which is making a really short job, well, fairly short job. Quite long, but it's not that difficult, just time consuming. So we've got a few bolts to take out and we've also got to take off the lower front crash bar, which gives us access to the bolts for the lower arm. So we'll crack on with that now. We have to now take off the intercoolers, one on each side for the turbo. So I'm going to remove the top mount and hopefully drop that down, which will then give us enough room with this pipe at the back to then swing this arm down and get the chassis leg out. That's the plan. We're going to see how it goes, but I winded them off. I had to grind down my socket, but they actually came off. That side on the driver's side came off a little bit easy. I've looked up online and the torque specs of these are high. So I don't know why that one came off so easily, even with my little Ryobi impact gun. So a bit sus there, and we'll see what happens next. I'm going to remove the intercoolers and then hopefully get the chassis leg out. Bracket's undone, so hopefully I can now lift this out. That's my goal, which I can. Right, now this front intercooler just has 2 bits of metal that you can pop down, and it comes out like that. And then this pipe just should slip off like that. There we go. I'll be cleaning that out. Okay, now with that undone, I'm hoping to be able to lower that down just like this, which is perfect. So now I can get this chassis leg out without completely removing this, because I really don't like these OEM style clamps. Right, now with this out of the way, you can see we have access. We've undone the front crash bar, which has released this end of the chassis leg, so this should just be able to drop out of place. Next, we need to undo this bolt here and these bolts underneath, which luckily seem to, I think, have welded tops. If they don't, I'll just hold them with a spanner. So I'm hoping this just, oh, there you go. One chassis leg. Okay, so now we're looking at it from underneath. It looks like we've got another size 17 in here and under here. And once they're out, this lower arm can completely come out. I've already got this ball joint here undone, so that's halfway out. And then that lower arm should come all the way out. Once we've got the lower arm out, all the weight's going to be on this one strut up here, and then we can swing this whole unit with the caliper and the brakes on with the nut off the end of the axle, and then we can pull the entire CV out, which we'll probably have to use a pry bar or something in there to get that out. One arm. So I'm now removing the tie rod end just so I can get as much movement as possible to make it as easy as I can. Okay, now on the passenger side of the car, it's a left-hand drive vehicle, there's also 3 small bolts that hold in the longer drive shaft. So I'm going to take those out and then we can get on with finally removing it. In between that bracket on the engine and the drive shaft, I've just used a flathead screwdriver just to slightly pull it this way to pop it out of the actual gearbox. And it would appear, whee! Right, let's get this out. There we go. One CV. Now since the access is so good, I'm taking this time to clean the car. Moving on to the tie rod end, I'm just marking up the old one so I know exactly where to put the new one. I'm also going to count how many turns it comes off with, as that's also a good indication when installing the new one. Mine was 20, if anyone's wondering. 20 turns. Right, bit of copper grease. Now the only thing I had to transfer over from the old drive shaft to the new one was this rubber dust boot, so that just sits flush against the gearbox so no dust and debris gets inside. Now when installing the other side of the CV, it's fairly straightforward. We're just slightly greasing up the end so it slots in nicely, and then I'm getting Dad to give me a hand pulling the caliper assembly and all the brake stuff away so that I can slot it in nice and easy. The lower arm also goes in with 2 bolts into the chassis and then the lower ball joint. Put them all in and get them tightened sort of hand tight, and then we can actually torque them up with some load on the suspension. Now I'm putting on the sway bar drop links. Now the rest of the car goes back together exactly as we took it apart. Now I'd be lying if I said I had a torque spec for this axle nut, because I don't, but all I saw online and on forums were ridiculously high numbers, heading towards the 300 Newton meters. Now I don't have a torque wrench that can even provide that sort of torque, so I just put it on the impact gun on the maximum. I didn't go for the air gun, I just went for my battery powered Ryobi, but I wazzed it onto the maximum, made sure that the rotor still span around, and then just chipped these pieces of the nut in so it can't undo itself. And all is good so far, and I've done a few thousand kilometers since filming this. Now one massive piece of information I've got before I end the video is that if you're changing the driver's side lower arm, make sure that you get it with this bracket on, because if you've got xenon headlights you need this bracket. If you don't have xenon headlights you're fine, you can buy it without, but I have the xenon headlights and this is the self-adjusting sensor, so you need this bracket if you've got the xenon lights. You can see the Abarth made it safe and sound. This is about a month later since I've done the video to the edit, and I just thought I'd quickly update you that the new drive shafts don't vibrate. The car would vibrate under acceleration a lot beforehand. Now that's completely gone, and of course the tie rod ends and the lower arms have just made the car feel a lot more settled and compliant on the road. So if you've got any symptoms like that, I'd highly recommend doing this upgrade. Obviously the cars are getting on now. This one's a Gen 3, a 2012, so it is quite an old car and it's done nearly 200,000 kilometers, so it was definitely deserving of some love. Now, I really enjoyed filming the video. I learned a lot doing it. If there's anything I missed in the video, please comment down below, because obviously I'm not a professional and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I don't want to pay someone else to do it. So I try and film it and put it on YouTube. But if you have enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for future videos.
One day I'll change all of my wicked ways.